What's up, fam? Hey, thank y'all for tuning in once again. As always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you subscribe, hit that notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. Hey, today let's get into it. Big story from yesterday. This called 18-year-old white nationalist went into Buffalo, New York, shot up a grocery store that's in a predominantly lower income black neighborhood, and shot up, killed 11 people, I think, shot 14 people, and somehow was arrested without incident. If you can believe that, right? Anyway, not gonna get into too many details. Well, yeah, we'll get into some details. But you know me, I like to touch on some of the topics, some of the lesser known topics that are that I feel are overlooked in stories like this sometimes. So we will go over the major points, but like I said, we'll touch on some of the lesser spoke about topics. This is coming up out of the Daily Mail. Like I said, you know how I do. Try to get as much detail as possible. And the title says, Buffalo white supremacists 18 threatened a school graduation shooting last year, was given psychiatric treatment, but still legally bought 3 guns. Now, let's see, classmates revealed he acted strangely, wore hazmat to school for a week, and scared them with Hitler-esque political views. Now, let's go back. Let's say Buffalo. We know he wasn't from Buffalo, and we'll get into where he's actually from in a minute. But he was from a well-to-do family. You know, I think both of his parents were engineers, I believe. So they made good money. Say the kid was smart, made good grades and stuff, but who knows what the hell happened to his mind. But first of all, so they say Buffalo, they say white supremacists. I think we have to kind of be careful of the words we use when we describe people now, especially when their mother folk started to use the word themselves. You know, it was a time, maybe a couple years back, that we would call them white supremacists, and people overlooked it or they got upset saying we shouldn't call us. No, they got upset saying we shouldn't call them that, all that kind of stuff. Then all of a sudden, the news media, the major news media, they jumped on it and started using the words themselves. So again, once they start doing it, you got to kind of think, why would they do that? Because, you know, they are very calculated in the way that they present the news and represent themselves. So to call a guy a white supremacist, I believe we shouldn't use that term. I believe white nationalist is probably the best description, because when you call somebody a supremacist, you're giving them a title of superiority. And this guy he's only 18, so he doesn't really have any history of any respect of, you know, of entitlement of being superior. He can be a white nationalist in the way that he thinks and his views, but it's not white supremacists. It's the system of white supremacy. Now, you're talking about 2 different things, especially when you're talking about this article here. Because yes, this is a system that is designed to keep the people that's on top, to keep them on top, and to keep everybody else down. And the system is ran by, you know, white people, so they are the supreme beings of the planet. Well, simply fact, because they run everything. Now, again, if you want to change the narrative, if you don't like the narrative, then you do something about it. You know, you do something about it individually and as a collective. But until then, it's a system of white supremacy. Not everybody out there is not a white supremacist. You see what I'm saying? If you ain't got no power, you ain't in control of nobody, you're not supreme of anyone. All right, so let's look at some of the highlights. To say Peyton Gendron, 18, was investigated by New York State Police for threatening to shoot his classmates during graduation in June of 2021. This is not even a year ago. Police suggested mental health evaluation and counseling. Let's say, classmate recalled his Hitler-esque political leanings during a political science exercise. They say he also wore a hazmat suit for a week. They may think he probably done it because of COVID. They say this 180-page manifesto refers to the paranoid white supremacist theory, white nationalist theory. Let's say that correctly now. White replacement. They say he looked up to Dylan Roof. What else? And all this, et cetera, et cetera. Let's go through this, man. A teenage white nationalist who murdered 10 people at the Buffalo supermarket threatened to shoot a classmate at his high school graduation last year. Officials at the Susquehanna Valley High School brought in New York State Police to investigate Peyton Gendron, 18, of Conklin, New York. Now, where he's from is like 200 miles from the scene of the crime yesterday, the massacre yesterday. After he made statements that he would shoot fellow students. A year later, he ended up shooting 13 people, 10 of them fatally, during an attack motivated by his hatred for black people at a top market supermarket in Buffalo. The two victims so far named are retired cop turned store security guard Aaron Salter and shopper Ruth Whitfield, 86-year-old grandmother. They say the school officials, reported a very troubled young man made statements indicating he wanted to do a shooting either at the graduation ceremony or something after. After police looked into the account, Gendron was referred for mental health evaluation and counseling. Classmates say he often acted strange. Last year, one student recalled that he wore a hazmat suit for a week. There were other indications of his fragile mental state. So during a class exercise and political class in which the students created their own countries with the government of their choice, this dude picked was an autocratic regime that the classmate described as Hitler-esque. He said views were extreme. The student said you can pick from any form of government you wanted, and he picked a totalitarian government. Who would have thunk it? Interesting. Let's see. Classmates. Also, one classmate recalled he almost collided with her head on in his car, but she brushed it off at the time of him being, careless driving. They said he was definitely into video games, which they've been trying to outlaw and ban those games for the longest. Then someone said it's so mind-blowing to think that it could have been us. No, it couldn't. He wasn't going to shoot his own people unless it was couched to his war. No, he had a whole different agenda, as you can see. They said he's one of 4 boys born to Paul and Pamela Gendron, 2 civil engineers with the state who live in Conklin, New York, 3.5 hours south of Buffalo. So the dad coached the kids in soccer, but the neighborhood found him strange. They say like some strange people. Some people call the mom snooty, which you making good money. Sometimes people, just acting with one. And then another neighbor said they was a really nice family. They seemed like regular people. In a million years, I would never think that anyone from this neighborhood would drive to Buffalo to carry out a racially motivated shooting. I'm just shocked. The young man posted a 180-page manifesto online before the shooting, exposing the paranoid white supremacist, white nationalist views that the whites were being replaced in America by people of color. It said in the screed he said that he was radicalized by 4chan, the same online chat group that launched the canon. He claimed that critical race theory is a Jewish plot to undermine the white, which he argues is the reason to take out Jews. He also referred to other mass shootings carried out to further racist ideology, like Dylan Roof, killed 9 people in a black church in South Carolina. We're gonna get to that situation in just a second. And New Zealand lunatic Brenton Tarrant, who murdered 51 people in the mosque. Gendron also espoused the quote great replacement theory, which claims Democrats are deliberately importing illegal migrants into the U.S. wholesale to achieve electoral dominance while driving whites to extinction. On Saturday night, Gendron, who was barefoot, masked, and wearing a paper smart, told the judge that he understood the charge against him was not guilty of arraignment and at a Saturday evening. Now, my question is, from what I see he got a problem with the Jewish people. I see he got a problem with, specifically, he spoke about Jewish people. He specifically spoke about illegal immigrants. He specifically spoke about Democrats. But yeah, you went to go kill poor black people. Your mom and daddy are freaking civil engineers who I know they making 6 figures a piece. Making good money. You went to a neighborhood that I would bet, they say $1 to a donut, or $10 to a bucket of poop. That ain't now one of them people in that store, in that neighborhood, are going to school or went to school to be a civil engineer. 3.5 hours from your house. Like really, like you couldn't have found these other people that you specifically mentioned in your manifesto. You couldn't find none of them. I'm not saying he should have done it anyway. But I'm just saying you just chose the poorest of the poor, the people that really couldn't fight back. And speaking of not fighting back, where are the young brothers out there that like to let's say gang bang, got that Draco, rapping and bragging about all the guns they got, all the money they got. You know what I'm saying? Be quick to take out one of our own, you know what I'm saying, just by looking at me funny. What you got a dude that came to a store, matter of fact, there's a video on YouTube where there's a brother said he actually talked to this dude talked to him the day before at that same grocery store. And the brother seemed like he's humble, might be a retired guy. I don't know if he's homeless, but he said he goes to the store all the time, every day. He told a reporter that the bench outside the store was his quote unquote office, so which means I'm quite sure he's there a lot. And this dude, of all people, stopped this white boy to talk to him and to get in his head to figure out what he's thinking. Now, I remember, this is what's crazy. You remember there used to be a time, that's why they say, times have changed, people getting soft, the rules have changed. There used to be a time that if somebody came through your neighborhood, no matter what color, and they just looked like they didn't belong, you got checked at the door. You see what I'm saying? But now, people want to say, oh, a rapper's coming into town, you got to check in. If you don't check in, there's going to be consequences in the hood. But you got this dude here coming there, hanging out. And the guy said he talked to the dude for about an hour and a half outside on the bench. And say talked about critical race theory, the beginning of civilization. So the dude was pretty doggone smart. And like I say in the article, it said, he was very smart in school. Made high grades, honor roll, make awards and stuff like that. But nobody just thought like, hey, this is somebody up in this. That's why you got to know your neighbors. You got to know your neighborhood, man. So if somebody, and that's what the problem is about people, moving all the time, different apartments and stuff like that, can't stay stable. When you can't stay stable, you don't know your environment. And so you're vulnerable to attacks like this, especially if you're not paying attention. Especially, it's one thing to be just gullible. But when you just, like I said, not paying attention to stuff like this, man, it can get you. Like I said, what them youngers with the Dracos and the AK-47, they AR-15, all that kind of stuff that they swept down, they got quick to shoot one of us. But when it comes to the mother folk, and they ain't got no smoke for that. They say, what did it say? Hours earlier, G.R.O.W.T.H was caught by police emerging from the top friendly supermarket and gives the address, shooting 13 people, 10 fatally. Survivors have since told how they fled to the supermarket's freezing terror, and operations manager Chanel Harris told her how she fled out the back of the shop to where she hoped for safety, only to see this dude gun down a victim right in front of her. Yeah, but she won't do that no more. Aaron Salter, a former Buffalo police officer, is the first victim that's been named in the attack. The father of three has been hailed as a hero after exchanging gunfire with G.R.O.W.T.H inside the market. This is what I understand about this one here. Is now, original story I read, it said he shot 3 people outside. I guess went inside, started shooting. This off-duty, this security guard, this former police officer went in, shot him. I think hit him like 3 times, but the dude didn't fall because he had tactical gear on, bulletproof vest, if you will. My question is, what happened to, pretty much taking the perpetrator out? When there's imminent and immediate danger for life, for human life, you take the threat out immediately. Shot him in the chest, and you're a former police officer. I would assume, maybe I'm wrong, that should have just been headshots. You shot him 3 times and he didn't drop. If you ran behind, the first shot should have been to the head, because this dude is he's killing people at will. People that have no weapons, no way to protect themselves. You don't have time to think, right? So that's what I would think. Like, hey, you shoot the dude in the head and call it a day. But for some reason, I guess he shot him shot him in the chest or shot him in the back with the bulletproof vest. The dude shot around and just gunned him down. I would love to know who trained this not doing no victim blaming and sorry he lost his life, but some of his training was a miss, if you want to call it. Then also it goes down to say G.R.O.W.T.H shot 4 people outside the store, 3 fatally. The commissioner said he then went into the supermarket where he exchanged gunfire with Salter. The ex-cop shot him multiple times, but the bullets hit the shooter's body armor and left him unfazed, the commissioner said. G.R.O.W.T.H then killed Salter. A further 6 victims of the bleeding have been shot dead inside the store. Salter's son, Aaron Salter, held his father for trying to stop the maniac gunman. Now it's crazy too. The guy in the video I was telling you about earlier, he said that Mr. Salter was outside telling people there would be no loitering at the store today, and he shoot everybody from the store. So that brother said that's one reason why he wasn't at his office or on the bench, whatever they want to call it, because he said, "Hey, when the police started, you ain't got to tell me more than once." He said he walked away. He said, open up the juice that he had just bought. Next thing you know, he said that's when he started hearing gunshot. So if he would have went any other way, like he said, he would have been there. He would have lost his life. They said the killings were broadcast live on streaming site Twitch, although the clip was removed within 2 minutes of its posting. Now, they said this dude put a manifesto online, say he's following these white nationalist groups. When are these social media companies going to be held liable? Everybody always talk about freedom of speech, this, that, and the third. Now, they quick to come after Bobby Shmurda, Young Thug and his crew. Listen to their rap lyrics. Watch these other young dummies that live stream themselves holding guns, holding money, and the police go and kick in their doors, arrest them. But this dude that talked about killing people for a year prior, then goes and been on these sites for months, the way it seems, the way they say it. And he gets ready to go carry out this attack. And there's no FBI or no state Bureau of Investigations keep an eye on this guy at all. He bought 3 guns legally. But nobody's watching this dude. You see what I'm saying? And he drives 3.5 hours to a community to gun people down. I'm not really understanding. I do understand. I understand. They said a young man drove hours from the white suburban town of Conklin, just outside of Binghamton, to the scene of the massacre. As the shooting unfolded, Buffalo police charged into the store and confronted the gunman in the vestibule. At that point, the suspect put the gun to his own neck. Buffalo police personnel, two patrol officers, taught the suspect to dropping the gun. He dropped the gun, took off some of his tactical gear, surrendered at that point, and he was led outside, put in a police car. Now, problem with this. When they say that boy was smart, that boy's a lot smarter, a whole lot smarter than you're probably gonna give him credit for. I'm gonna tell you why. Police come running in, he put the gun to his own neck. He know instantly the police do not want to see a suicide. They already might not even want to shoot him just because maybe his age, his look, color of his skin, stuff like that. But put the gun to your neck. He put the gun to his own neck, threatened suicide. That's gonna make them back up. So now you got a suicidal person. So now they're gonna try to talk him down, and the way it seems like he easily took off his gear, dropped his gun, and laid down, and then they tackled him, or whatever the case may be. Then took him out, patrol car, arrested him, and took him out. Down here in the great state of Texas, you can, I don't know if it's in other states because I don't live in them, but I know here you can literally, let's say if you have a domestic dispute, and these are stories I've heard from people that I know. Man and woman, husband and wife, whatever, boyfriend, girlfriend, they in the house fighting, arguing, not necessarily physically fighting, but they in the house arguing, cussing, maybe throwing stuff, yelling. Could be fighting. Could be a physical confrontation, but somehow the police is called. Now when the police is called to a domestic dispute, automatically somebody has to leave, okay? But that's neither here nor there right now. If you in the house and like I said, you threatening people, okay, the police, like I said, somebody has to leave. They're gonna take somebody. Most likely they're gonna take the man. If they take him, they're gonna take him to jail. You gotta book them, all that kind. You gotta be booked, arraigned, all that kind of stuff. But if you holler, if y'all come in, if you holler and if you holler out that you're gonna kill that other person and yourself right then and there, once the situation diffused, they gotta take you to Turtle or the what do you call it, Green? What you call it? The mental health hospital. Okay, automatic. You go there for like a 3-day evaluation. If they say that you're okay to leave, you can leave. You know what I'm saying? You go and that's it. Psych eval. You pass, get through that, then you can go. And the situation is done. That's why if you go back to, they're saying that they thought he was going to shoot somebody at school. Yeah, they take him to a psych eval, do a little 3-day psych eval. After a while, they say, oh, he's competent, or maybe he was just distraught about something, could make up something, say he was upset about something, this and the third. You know what I'm saying? Say do some counseling, and you're cured. And that's how they treat it. So I believe this dude knew that once he pointed that gun to himself, police were not going to shoot him. He didn't want to die. He didn't want to die, because if he wanted to die, wanted to commit suicide, he could have pointed the gun at the police. You see what I'm saying? He shot all these people. Police come in, he surrendered. No, he knew exactly what he was doing. I said, the dude, just a little more smarter than what we give him credit for. But then back to the police. Even though the dude did point the gun at his own head, why does it seem like sometimes police just do not use excessive force when it calls for it? Because maybe this is in their training, right? Maybe this is training that all, you use the least invasive, least deadly tactic to defuse the situation. Unless your life is in danger. But this dude, unless your life is in danger, right? Okay, maybe the police felt like their lives were in danger. So this is what they do all the time, right? I mean, he got an assault rifle, mind you, with the word NIGGER written across the barrel. Okay, but like I said, you'll see all that in other stores. So my thing is, man, do they always defuse situations like this? Let's take a look. In California, earlier this year, February 22nd to be exact, a black grandmother was shot 30 times, more than 30 times, shot at more than 30 times by a police officer when she rammed her car into his car. Let's see if she had a gun, got caught. Let's see exactly what happened. Now, this is from NBC News. A California woman fatally shot by police was victim of shocking excessive force, lawyer says. Tracy Gator was killed after a K-9 officer in Stockton fired more than 30 shots into a car February 22nd. Now, notice how they use words. I always look at wordplay, like K-9. They always call it K-9 officer, not just police officer. You gotta say K-9 because they want you to think that there was a dog in the car. A dog who couldn't shoot back, a dog who could protect himself in the car, life in danger. We gotta take the suspect out because it's okay for me because I can defend myself. But I got a dog in the car. It's a K-9 officer. Oh my God, yeah, poor little Benji and Lassie and Ren 10 in the car. We gotta protect them. So we gotta do everything we can to protect this dog. But you go back to Buffalo, you got all them black people. What you do to protect them black people? What you do to the suspect then, the perpetrator? Lawyers for the family of the California grandmother fatally shot by authorities accused police of excessive force Wednesday, saying that even though she backed her car into a law enforcement vehicle, she was unarmed and never threatened officers. Now, you're gonna say, oh, well, she was, backing her car to a police officer. You know what I'm saying? They shot her, they had every right. You might be right, but let's just keep reading. Tracy Gator, 54, died after a K-9 officer, there it is, in Stockton fired more than 30 shots into her car February 2nd, according to body camera video released April 7th. No matter what was going on with her, even if she had committed a heinous crime, he didn't have the right to shoot her, the lawyer said in an interview. She never threatened him. The excessive force is shocking. In a statement, Angelina Austin, a lawyer with Gwilyn's firm, added, like too many black women across the country, Tracy Gator is yet another victim of preventable police violence. You see a lot of police violence against black women lately, man. They like to drag them by the hair, hit them across the face, tackle them. I mean, it's going crazy. I mean, it's ridiculous. So let's see what happened. Let's say in a video statement released last week, the police department said the incident began after Gator, who was initially identified as a black male, was captured in surveillance video striking a police SUV that was stopped at a red light. After fleeing, she was later spotted and pursued by the K-9 officer, Kyle Rivera, the department said. Gator stopped on a dead-end road, backed into Rivera's car, causing him to hit his head, the department said. According to the body camera video, Rivera then fired 18 shots into Gator's car. Her vehicle reverse lights remained on, and Rivera fired several more shots. So she didn't move, the reverse lights just never turned off, so he just kept shooting again. After changing his service weapons clip, Rivera yelled for the driver to raise her hands, according to the video. Now, I'm quite sure she's been hit by this time, and she's probably going through shock. So anything really after that point of being shot at, you can't chalk it up to being in a sound mind. Gator began driving, pulling forward several feet, then reversing away from Rivera. So now she's trying not to hit the guy, still trying to get away from the guy. He opened fire again, shooting more than a dozen times, according to the video. Sister was taken to the local hospital where she was pronounced dead, the department said. According to a policy adopted by the Stockton Police Department in 2019, officers are quote unquote generally prohibited from firing at fleeing vehicles. It wasn't immediately clear if the policy is current, but it says a decision to fire at a moving vehicle must be based on the most compelling circumstances. You see how they word this stuff? Remember, lawyers be writing this stuff, so they know how to word this stuff to where you can go either way depending on what the situation is. Officers are required to avoid putting themselves in situations where they have to use a gun to protect themselves, the policy says. So really, he didn't have to use a gun. He really didn't. You ever know like how you see the video where these police be chasing somebody and they're like, well, I don't know what you call it, but they'll like hit the side bump of the car and something gonna spin. You gotta use no gun. I mean, because as long as she in the car, he in the car, he could did it. He could did a number of things. He could have stayed up on her bumper instead of letting her back up into him. After that first time, he could have ran up in her and stayed up on her bumper so she couldn't move. You see what I'm saying? But no, he wanted to jump out and start shooting. After the shooting, Rivera was placed on 3-day administrative leave. Silva declined to comment on Gibbs' claim, but said a multi-agency review was underway. That review would end with a decision by local district attorney's office on whether Rivera should face criminal charges. He probably won't. He probably won't. So it's like, man. But then you probably say, Mark, I hear what you're saying, but you know, she did that and she rammed into a police officer and, you know, I mean, he shot at him. You know what I'm saying? You know, he feared for his life because he didn't know what was going on. Although she never threatened him, never got out the car. Matter of fact, it says in the end, she was trying to run away still. For whatever reason, you don't know if she had mental issues, the early stages of Alzheimer's or dementia. You don't know what was going on with her at the time. But they just thought it was a black man and they just going to shoot him. You're probably saying, hey, that's what they're supposed to do, right? You know, shoot to kill and make sure, you know, you take out the threat. Okay, if that's the case, let's go to another story. This one came out of Dallas. Where it says dramatic video shows, and I'm gonna put all this in the description box so y'all can look at this stuff for yourself. Dramatic video shows suspect flee after injuring 3 Dallas officers. The man who shot it out with Dallas police early over the weekend now faces at least 9 felony charges, including 4 charges of aggravated assault on a public servant. Police on Tuesday released shocking video of the shootout. Now, police said 34-year-old Seth Anderson, a white male, fired 14 times on officers and hit 3 squad cars as he drove away from officers who were trying to take him into custody Saturday near Skillman Street in far northeast Dallas. Anderson was wanted by police and was spotted at a game room on Ardelia Road. So he already had an arrest warrant. So police, you know, should already, you know, maybe looking up. The man could be armed and dangerous because he didn't want to turn himself in. That's what I would think. You know, he got arrest warrant. We got to protect ourselves at all costs. So Officer Noah Him was creeping through looking for Anderson. So somebody saw Anderson call the police. As Officer Him was passing, the suspect rammed Him's patrol car, backed up in the Infinity, and sped off after hitting 2 other squad cars. So at no time while he's ramming into these cars, the police didn't think of shoot. I mean, that's what they do in California. That's how they train in California. They say, and Anderson slightly injured 3 officers and just missed an officer on foot. Now, I done seen police chase a dude on a bike, and when they catch up to him, purposely run him over because they're so upset because they had to chase him in Shreveport. Okay, him on the force less than 4 years chased the Infinity to a dead end, kind of like the sister in California, right? And blocked the car from behind. Hey, what the guy in California should have did, right? You talk about fight or flight. There's a lot of people that think they know what they would do in a situation like that, but until it happens, said Police Chief Eddie Arcega. That's the type of cop I want on the department. That's what you train for. What you mean you don't know what people do? That's what you train for, right? Okay. Hill's body camera shows Anderson cracking his car door open and opening fire on the officer as he was exiting his vehicle. I don't think the sister in California ever got out the car and they'll start shooting at the police officer, right? Or the, let's say the black guy, because they thought it was a black guy, remember? He took cover and returned fire as he was shot at. In all, police say 38 shots were fired. So, was it 24 police shot, 24 bullets? And not once hit the guy, not once hit this guy. Are you serious? Being shot at and taking cover and returning fire and then chasing this guy, I mean, he was a stud, Garcia said. At one point, Anderson acted like he was giving up, but then ran for it. Officers chased him, and it was him who caught him. He was tased and cuffed. Again, this guy, I tell you, see the video. You had plenty of opportunity, ample opportunity to shoot this guy, like they do in California, like they should have did in Buffalo. He said, I believe suspects and criminals seem to be emboldened by what's going on nationally, not just locally. And they're willing to take our men and women on who are sacrificing their lives for our safety. That to me is what it comes down to. Say the police chief had nothing but praise for Officer Him, etc., etc., etc. So again, it's amazing how three parts of the country, three different sides of the country, police handle situations 3 different ways in 3 different neighborhoods with 3 different people, type of people. But another point I want to make is that this man was 19 years old. 18, I'm sorry. Went to the store and shot it up. The question is, let's say he followed all these radical groups, somebody had to put him on to, you know, shout out to the movie How I Learned and Remy. But this dude had everything, right? See what I'm saying? Both parents made great money, put him in the suburbs, and he still wanted to take out everybody that wasn't European descent. But this goes to the point of this boy was taught this. I want to say who taught it? I guarantee he learned this at home. Guarantee, won't put it past him. And this stuff is taught when they're young. And the police and the president who says prayers go out to the families, they all know this. Everybody knows this. And it's high time we understand that this is how they get our kids. They know you got to train them when they're babies. That's why they want you to bring them to the school so early, to the daycare, learn their curriculum. While you sit at home, want to hurry and take them to school so we can go home and chill out or rest or whatever. You got to go to work in the daytime, and then when they get out of school, you get out of work, you're like, oh, they learn all they need to learn in school. Y'all go in the room and play. I'm finna go rest, watch my soaps. But it don't work that way. You don't know what they've been taught at the schoolhouse. You don't know what everybody else's kid is being taught at home. And like I say, this stuff starts when they're babies, when they're young. This video about a young girl who was 9 years old said that she would never forgive the brother that shot her in the mall. You know, check that video out. He shot on accident. He was chasing some shoe thieves through the mall and pulled out his gun and shot and somehow hit this little 9-year-old girl 3 times. Like, how in the hell? But she's 9 years old, and one of my points I was gonna make was that people would probably look at me and be like, hey man, you know, this is a 9-year-old, she don't know no better. You know, she's just upset because she didn't get a chance to take a picture with the Easter Bunny. And like I was saying, is these people stay on code. They all stay on code, which is what we need to do. We need to stay on code. Don't let outsiders just come in and skin and grin and act like they are a friend. You see something wrong, you feel like something wrong, go with your gut. You know what I'm saying? Go with your gut and check them at the door. But like I say, that everybody's on code against us, but we don't have a code. And this is why, you know, shout out to Brother Neely Fuller. You gotta get that compensatory book he has. Oh man, I got it, but I can't think of the dang title right now. I'm about halfway through with it, but anyway. It's just a code. It's talking about a code of how to survive and how to maneuver in this world. In the world that's ran by white supremacy. Because you got these white nationalists out here who are trying to cater and placate to white supremacist movement. But like I said, they started them out as kids. And so the girl said she wasn't going to forget her brother for shooting her. And like I said, you probably say, hey, she's kind of young. That makes no sense. You know, you got to give her the benefit of the doubt. Okay, George. Let's go to one last story, and then I'm going to get out of here. This happened about a day ago, a couple of days ago. And this is also on Daily Mail. Like I said, I'm going to put the links on all this stuff, so I want y'all to research it. I'll just go by what I say. It said, moment white Texas boy 9 storms over to home of black neighbors and cracks whip on door while looking for their daughter, who was also 9. Boy dad was later arrested for firing a gun during confrontation with the victim's parents. So basically what it was is this little white boy come to these people's house, these black folks' house, slapping the door. First of all, how in the hell at 9 years old you just going over somebody's house and nobody know you're going over there? Anyway, he goes over there and beats on the door with a whip, like, and demanding that the little girl come out. The mom, I guess the dad was at home. The little girl's dad was at work, but the mom was there, and she opened the door to her little boys, pretty much cussed them out like you're supposed to. Get away from my door, all that, doing all that foolishness. The boy sit there, didn't say nothing, walked off. Then it said he keyed up the car, or scratched the car. Dad get home, he goes over to the neighbor's house across the street and told the guy, hey, we need to talk to you about your son. Your son came over here banging on my door with a whip. Your son came over here, messed up our car, and the boy's dad, Brian Brunson, pretty much called the black folks lies. And they said, we got it all on tape. Said, can you come out and talk? Because his brother ain't smart. He ain't finna go in there. He's like, can you come out and talk so I can show you what your son did and we can show you the video. White dude was like, man, get away from my property, accusing my son of doing stuff. And he's like, I'm not accusing nothing. I got a tape. Come outside, look at the damage, look at the video on our phone, and you'll see, or look at the video, you'll see exactly what happened. And the dad would not do it. Dad comes out with a 357, telling the brother to get away from his property, which, okay, it's time to move. We understand how the game goes. Told him to get away from his property. But they fussing, arguing back and forth. This idiot messed around and handled the gun recklessly, gun discharges. Damn near hit his own daughter because he's doing stupid stuff. Police came and arrested the guy. But again, the boy was 9 years old, coming over to a black family's house with a whip in his hand, cracking the whip like he's some slave master, demanding the little black girl come out. Like I say, this type of stuff is taught. I'm not gonna say everybody is racist. I think everybody has a prejudice in them about something, but I'm not gonna say every white person is a white national. What I'm saying is, in instances that you see it, understand this stuff is taught from birth, from being babies. You heard me? So we have to approach the situation and look at this situation totally different, and in a different light than what we want to. We are not in control of anything. We can sit here. I ought to say this. We can sit here and be upset about how the laws are, how we feel that we're treated, how we feel that stuff is just so unfair, that others get benefit of the doubt, get a pass, and get handled with kid gloves, or a while they just be on us like a silverback for every little thing we do, and they'll deal with the consequence with us. they'll act first and deal with the consequences later. With them, you gotta think about it. Let's do some investigation and see what happened before we come to certain conclusions. But it's life, it's part of the world. I mean, bottom line is you do have control over what you do and how you dictate the way your life goes for the most part. Anything that you can control, you take care of it. Right now, unless I said it before in the video, unless you running for some kind of city council seat, some kind of state representative seat, some kind of congressional seat, or what have you, or if you going to school to be a lawyer, or to be a paralegal, doing something in the legal field, try to understand these laws. If you're not teaching your kids to do it, try to understand these laws, so maybe you can figure out how to correct them and overhaul the system. Really can't complain. Really can't complain. I mean, if you're not, studying the candidates that are running in your, in the next election, actually studying what their beliefs in, so what their views are on a lot of political issues. If you're not doing the research and just going out there, just going down Democrat and all that kind of stuff, you ain't got no reason to complain. You got no reason to complain to vote down Democrat, but then when Joe Biden does what he does, and now you're all upset, what you complaining about? Because you were told way before he got elected how he felt about you. You were told that, but yet you still went that way because you want to get the other guy out. But everybody's trying to tell you, I mean, they're both the same. It's not really. There's no real big difference between the two of them, you feel me? So, I don't know what you was looking for. But anyway, I'm gonna get out of here, man. Tell me what y'all think. Like I said, it's a lot to this story, man. I know a lot more is probably gonna come out. I heard that they interviewed the parents to see if they had, what kind of involvement they may have had into this situation. But man, I just want to say, rest in peace to the families. Yes, thoughts and prayers do go to the family. I'm quite sure there'll be some GoFundMes and stuff set up for funeral costs. So keep a lookout on that. And if something's up, support. Send something. Hell, $1, $5, $10, something, stuff like this, because because I guarantee you, that dude there, so he gonna have a good lawyer. I guarantee you, he gonna have one. He gonna have a top lawyer up there that's gonna plead his case, gonna plead his insanity case. It's not guilty case. You feel me? He gonna have money behind it. And then when he go to jail, he gonna get money then. He gonna have backers then. But these people here that got killed, like I said, where they gonna get their funds in? So again, like I said, GoFundMe come out, man. Just support. Put in a little donation. Help them out. With that being said, I leave you in peace. And I'll see you on the other side.